Hey guys, welcome back to a new podcast. My name's Sureet and this is Stevie K. We're husband and wife, and today we're going to be discussing how our week's been and what we've learned and what we're hoping to continue on, the things we've learned to take forward. Why do you not be like that?
No, exactly. That's what we're talking about. Things that we've learned, not just in this week, in the past couple of weeks. Obviously, the last podcast we done was more or less why we haven't been, doing podcasts regularly. So this week, we're just going to talk about things that we're learning about ourselves and things that are working, things that aren't working, certainly in a relationship, things that, that couples can get bored of. And I think loads of couples who are probably watching this probably able to relate, and things that we can do to change that. And I think many times, that's the problem with, when you're in a relationship, certainly married for such a long time, it's that communication of not only seeing, but knowing and understanding, and then doing something about it.
Yeah. And just a little something small, like you said, learning about yourself. You know what? We discussed about how I've not been drinking coffee and wine. Yeah. This morning, I thought it's been 2 weeks now since I've had a coffee. I thought this morning, should I just have one, see how it is? I couldn't get through half of it. And I realised how effect it does have on my stomach. Although all these years I've been drinking it, and I know, like, I do read up on stuff like that, but I'm like, oh, whatever, I enjoy it. But this morning, having that half a cup, it was just like, I don't miss it. It's been 2 weeks. It's something I just do because of comfort, and I don't need to drink it. Like, I really don't need coffee. I don't mind going out and having a nice coffee. I have been doing that. Go and have a nice cappuccino, latte, what have you. But I don't need to have that routine. It's just something drilled in your head. So I'm so glad that I stopped drinking coffee 2 weeks ago, and I don't know what possessed me to do it, because I am a crazy coffee morning. I'll go outside and I'll sit there and I'll just, especially when it's like lovely and warm first thing in the morning, sit in the garden. And now I've been trying to adjust to have like tea.
Sorry, I just had a funny moment in my head. You said, I don't know what possessed me to do it. I was like, half the time I don't know what possesses.
Sorry. Like having my tongue pierced, rise it's healed, so I can drink coffee and eat and do whatever I want to.
See, this is
what possessed me to marry you.
This is what ends up happening in my head. When you've been married that long, that's what ends up happening in your head. She says things and he just goes, I'm listening and I'm just going, this is where I normally would crack a joke. But yeah, I'm trying to stop that on podcasts.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
There's many things that, I look back and think, what possessed me? Yeah. Anyway, so even like with tea, I've been like having tea in the morning. I'm like, I'll have half of it. I'm like, I don't want it. Evening is tea for me. I can fully finish a cup of tea. But I'm like figuring myself out. So it's good. We're still every day day you're figuring yourself out. And it's taken me just many years to think, you know what? And I don't need a coffee. And just as well as everything else this week, we've been understanding and learning, and hopefully we're going to take forward. We don't really make big deals out of it like we would have done as couples. We would have like argued so much with things that have happened or are happening, but it's that understanding, isn't it?
Yeah,
like, kind of.
I do feel, because one thing, this podcast, I want to talk more about boredom basically in relationships, certainly as a couple, and certainly when you've been together for 24 years. I think certainly, like, I always look at it and going, people look at us and many of them going, gosh, you two work together. We live together, we work together, we go out together. And then you look at most other relationships and you're thinking, if we were sort of like typically like how we used to be, you hardly really see each other and spend time with each other. Because if you see any couple or any relationship, if people can relate, you work, let's just say majority of the people work 9 till 5, right, when you're in a relationship. And maybe one person, both are working, maybe one's working and one's not working. But regardless, you're away from each other for 4 hours, 8 hours. And also, you get up in the morning, you're getting ready, you're having your coffee, your tea, like you said.
Oh, it's a lemon. Just testing it out today. Another thing I'm testing.
And then, so you're doing that, and both of you are doing that. And if you've got kids on top of that, you're getting your kids ready. So that's your morning. Then you're at work. Then you finish at 5 o'clock. Like I said, it could just be one of you. It could be both of you. You come back home, and then your mind has been on your job, on your work, even probably on the night before. And then when you've come back, you're more or less trying to sort of switch off from work mode to come onto family mode. And then you get in preparing to eat. So your commute and everything, by the time you get ready and you're about to eat, it's about 6:30. So after you've eaten 7:30, I mean, I remember when our children used to go to bed at 7:30.
Yeah, we used to have that time.
And then we
together.
used to have a time together.
It used to be nice. But it kind of, as they got older, it kind of, gradually.
Yeah, because then they all stay up later and then you spend more time with them. But what I was saying was that if you see majority of couples then, even if you haven't got kids, by the time it's about 7:30 and you've eaten, you're more or less asking, how's your day been? And you're more or less like sort of like decluttering that mind, but you're already preparing yourself for the next day. And then and that's the same thing, you put your kids to bed and then you're more or less trying to just switch off. You could be in separate rooms, doing your own separate things. That's something we were discussing this week. Or you could be in the same room, still doing different things, but you're not communicating. And then finally, when the weekend comes, you're more or less going, what is it that I can do with other people? It could be friends. So guys could go out with their friends or their cousins or their brothers, whoever it might be. And girls could be doing the same thing, going out with their friends or going to see relatives. And then we basically go speak to someone, do things, and we got that to talk about. Oh, look, we did this or we did this. Or guess what's happening in so-and-so's house? You're constantly sort of occupied. You're constantly busy, but you're not really, talking or communicating. You're not really together.
The only time I felt like you were actually listening to me this properly this whole week was when we went out the other night and we were having a few drinks.
Yeah.
And then I'm not like, now I'm like thinking, was he actually listening or actually understanding what I had to say? You're just nodding because he had a few drinks, but you seemed like you were listening and I could freely just say,
well, few drinks?
Well, yeah. Normally it's like, that's what I felt this week. And maybe it's because of just even on the drive there, I was like, you know what, it's okay because like Steve said, that would be the normal life, what we would be doing, like had done when the kids were younger, ask each other, unwind, put them to bed and talk. Because we work together and do everything together. Even on the drive going to town, I was like, he was like, so what's new? And I was like, don't do this now. Like, I actually said, please, like...
let's just stay quiet.
Because I said you don't ask me stuff doesn't mean you feel like you have to talk to me now. It's nice as a couple. You can actually drive and even sit in a coffee shop. And I look at it now because I used to see it before when I used to go to the gym. And I used to see a couple of old people just sitting there. They're not talking. One would have a book and the other one's just like sitting there. And you're thinking, geez, they must be really bored. No, they're in each other's presence, but they don't have to talk. And then do you know what I mean? You look at it a different way now. And I like driving with you the other day and you were like, so, and I felt like you were only asking me because we've been having these kind of discussions and I don't like that. And, we're going somewhere finally, we're out together, just breathe. And it was like that. Not that things are hectic at home, just work and everything. You just breathing. The windows open. It was a lovely day, smelling the nature, and you just don't want to talk. And just knowing each other's presence are there. And then when we were there, we had a few drinks, and it was nice because it felt like you were actually present and you were listening and you were actually understanding. It wasn't about listening, you were understanding.
I wasn't talking much.
Because it doesn't matter how many times I had said what I said in the week, it was like you'd get frustrated and angry with me.
Yeah, because there was loads going on.
And it is because of everything that's going on, the way he's responding to me. I'm like, I'm not even going to bother here. Like, I can't get through to him. I'm not asking for much. I'm not saying much, but this is how it is. But that's how it has been.
And I think what we're basically trying to say is, like, for majority of the people, you're not present anyway. You're there, but you're more or less just occupied with everything that's going around you. If you're not, your mind's at work, or if your mind's on your children, and then your mind's on other family people's issues, problems. Guess what? This is happening out there. And those are your conversations with each other. And like, oh, really? And then I think what you end up doing is you sort of like look at other people's relationships or life, and many people can just go, well, at least we're not in the situation that they might be in. And they probably do the same thing with yourself and with somebody else. And then you go in, so we're not that bad. We at least still go shopping together, or at least we still go, every so often we go to my mum's together or something like that. Yeah. So I think people tend to, they're not even doing that, or they're not doing this. But I think what I'm trying to say is, I believe even as a couple, most couples, and it ends up becoming more like, obviously at the start it's totally different. It ends up becoming like this business contract. Like your two partners running a company, you're more or less trying to make sure that everything's running fine. And, if things are working or not working, of, the kids and everything and all that, the house and, work and all that. But I think you take each other for granted because you feel like that person's there anyway. I'm there. They know what I'm doing and what my roles are. I know what they're doing. So let's just keep on fixing and protecting and doing the things to make sure everyone else is okay. But that person understands where I'm coming from, and they understand where I understand where they're coming from. So we don't have to work on that.
That's so true. Yeah. And it's like you said, it's like a role and you don't appreciate it.
No.
But weirdly enough, like even the other day, today as well in the kitchen, I was there like thinking to myself, geez, with everything that you've been doing, like, you know, like a headless chicken, there's been so much you've been doing this year, learning new things, this week, learning new things, still like trying to make time for us to do things and understanding that we haven't got it and stuff. And like, there's just so much. And I'm like, how amazing, because I've never sat there. I know I've never, and we discussed this in one of the videos before, like me being pregnant and you not really asking me questions, stuff like, but I'm like, I don't think I've ever said like, but we have discussed things. Where I'm getting at is like you didn't have your dad there.
Yeah.
He wasn't that role model at all, and still isn't.
Yeah.
But the way you've been and the person you are, you've not learned that off anywhere. You've had to, you know, yourself.
Yeah. From mistakes.
Yeah, there's been a lot of mistakes, but you haven't been bad. And it's like it's just seeing that and being grateful, because, you know, it could have been something else, something completely different, just like him, like not giving a crap, but you've been there present most of the time. Obviously, there's been a big, you know, we had a big ditch, but that was between both of us. But you've been there, regardless of whatever you were going through, you've been there, and you made sure that the kids, that they, you know, they knew that they were the priority first. And even our relationship was on the side, that was them. And the same for me, I feel like I was the same as well. Regardless of our relationship, you know, it's there. They were our priority.
Yeah. And I think that's with every parent. And not only that, certainly when you haven't had those role models, I feel that sometimes you think that, you know what, I want to make sure that the children have what I wish I had.
Yeah.
You know, that regardless of anything, that we are very important. And, you know, but what ends up happening is, because you doing that, and not only that, you probably didn't see those relationships between like mother and father or uncles and aunts or whoever it might be between themselves, that they were there. They were always there. They were doing what they had to do, but you never saw them in arm or laughing and joking or, you know, this, that and the other, or guess what, us two went to do this together or that together. I feel that you just like end up being a bit like that as well, like going, this is how it is. That, you know, our roles and responsibility, I mean, obviously for a man is to be a protector and a provider, and I felt like that's what I did. I worked, so I was providing, I was making sure that and then I was protecting,
and I did the other,
and then you did the other, and then it was just like making sure that every occasion, every opportunity, you know, any event, birthdays, plays, whatever, that you're there, because that's what, you know, I didn't have or you didn't have. So we're going to make sure that we're there no matter what on the big account. But then we never did that for each other. We're more or less going, look, we're both here. We're both giving the kids what they want and need, but we never even actually thought, we'll probably complain to each other, you're not doing this, you're not being this, you're not, you know, this, that and the other. And me, I was probably thinking, or I was thinking at the time, that I'm doing everything that a father and you know, like a husband should be doing from what I learned. I'm providing, I'm protecting. What more is it that you want? I'm here. I'm not out and about. I don't drink with my friends or whatever. I don't do those kind of things. And then
I do the same, thinking I'm a mom. I do everything. I run around the kids. You do have to even think about the kids once. Like,
you don't have to do that.
Dentists, everything.
Exactly. I've got the house in order.
Yeah.
And,
you know, put them to bed. Everything's done. But then our time together, like you don't see me exist. But
and he was that. And he has been that.
Yeah, but it's not even saying that we didn't have time for each other. Then we used to go out and do things. But I don't think even then that we appreciated or like looked at each other in the way, like, you know what, you've been...
He ends up being going out with each other, and we did go out, and we did.
You just want to have some fun, and you just want to let your hair loose.
I was gonna say, it's not like we didn't. We went out, but we went out, and he was like escaping from everything else. It's like now, it was like me being me again, like how I used to be, and you being you,
like,
but not us two being couple.
Yeah,
as in
not the couple you'd want. You know, when you first dating, they're all over each other.
It wasn't that. It was just like we're like, it felt like two friends out just enjoying themselves with other friends.
Yeah.
you end up being we're having a laugh, we're having a great time. It's like you're not thinking about, gosh, we're married, we've got kids. At that point, you're just going, this is just us having a good time.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
And now it's come to the point where like we go out and we're drained at times, most of the times. And I think we need to stop doing that on the days that we're really, because we just want to get out. We just want to get out, and maybe we'll go to the local or something.
Just to get out.
We'll come back arguing.
and the only thing is, if it was a beautiful day outside and then you go, okay, let's get out, you could probably just go and sit in the park or do something or go, and relax outdoors just to get some fresh air. But because obviously the weather that we normally have, we're more or less we've been indoors, not just one day, maybe 2, maybe 3, whatever. I mean, I'm not saying we trapped inside, I go to the gym or Sureet will go out, whatever, but it still isn't. It's like we work at home and then we're around each other. We know what's going on. So if you see that there's other couples or other, you can go, this is what's happening in my sister's life, or this happened in my brother's, or this is what's going on with my mum or my dad or their house or their or in my work colleagues. We don't do that.
But I don't even miss it either, because I feel like we're still in that transition where we're learning about ourselves. Now, we went out the other day, and yes, you were talking most of the time. And if I look back and thinking, you know what, I could have spoke about a lot of stuff. But did I even want you to ask me, how I'm feeling or whatever? I wouldn't want to, because of just how stressed and why.
We're great, though, weren't we?
But looking at it now, though, like I'm saying, is just like the couple I mentioned being in a coffee shop. Then it is okay to go to a bar and just maybe like, and not have to talk at all and just enjoy a glass. You don't have to. Like, we're just here.
Or one person reading and the other person doing whatever they want to, that we're just getting out.
Not in a bar, like if you go to bar for a quick one, just one evening. And there is nothing wrong with it. It's just sitting in each other's arms and just having a quick drink, or just unwinding and then going home, instead of like feel like you have to talk. You know what I mean?
And I think what ends up also happening in relationships more than anything is, when you do have children and you've spent all your time around, trying to raise your children and being there, regardless of what role you played, how you played it, as they get older and they no longer need you as much as they used to, it doesn't matter if they, like our son now just goes and cooks his own stuff. He doesn't ask as much. And then obviously our girls are grown up. So, when you go into those circumstances, obviously if you haven't built that relationship of that, your whole conversations are about either the work you're doing or your kids or other people, that once you no longer, and that's why I feel that there's nothing wrong with having people in your life. You should have people in your life, you should have some good friends, and you should have, family members that you can relate to, but you have them because you're there for love and support. You love to be in their presence. You make each other feel positive and energetic.
Yeah.
Not like, there's those people that you have that love and, that network, those people, but then you have the others who just need a distraction.
Yeah.
Either these are the people who either have to watch something all day long. And again, I'm not saying you shouldn't watch. I love movies. I love football. But I feel like for some, it's like I don't have to focus on my relationship at home with my wife or with my husband. If I can just get myself out of that situation, that we don't have this conversation or have to look at what's wrong, that we focus in going, what's going on in someone else's house or what's happening. And it's a distraction more than anything.
Since we've been the way we have the last couple of years, you look at it, I think people are really scared to sit alone and be in their own company for too long. Like, I feel like they'd need someone, something, like you said, as a distraction. Do you know what I mean? So, because you will be there thinking about other things about you. Well, I do. I know when I'm sitting alone, I'm always thinking about improvement, where I could have done right, or whatever else. But I'm glad I have that. Before, I probably would have been like, oh, let's go here and let's do this. But that no longer is the case. And I know even now, if we were to move forward, I know I've already gained so much or learned so much that I wouldn't go any backwards. If that makes sense.
Yeah. And I agree. I feel that,
So these times are needed, like to have these breakdowns, to reflect and go through a time in your life where you think, just where have you been? What's been going on?
But I believe also it does impact your children and your future relationship with each other, because if you've spent all that time just been, trust me, Sureet and I have been there for our kids. Our kids have been, and always will be most important, people in our life. and we'll always want to be there for them. But you got to also understand that as they grow, they've got to have their own relationships, their own friendships. They've got to do their own things. Another thing that you see in relationships, what ends up happening is because you have them in your life. You have certainly the ones that have got children in their life or other people. Because we had a conversation with someone on TikTok. Sorry, let me just quickly go. And she basically said that she's dating someone for some time, but he every single time any opportunity he gets, he's got to hang around with his friends. Friends come first, and it's like, okay, where he's supposed to be building that relationship to show her that, you know, she also is important. She was like going, he wasn't doing that. And it's like, it's been going on for a while that any time he just has to carry on doing that, and you know, because he can't leave that side of his life.
Relationship as well. It wasn't like a couple of years down.
So it was his family, it was his friends, and then she was coming last, and she was like going, well, if this is now when it's just early days, then what do you expect later? It's like, these are the things that are important to me.
No, this is what we said to her. She was asking us advice.
And it was like, you come down here. Yeah. And not only that, I mean, it's understandable. You don't have to leave that, but it's that thing of, you're not as important in all this. I'm not going to leave this life. Either you take me for who I am, otherwise I'm not interested. Yeah. And it's that thing, what I was going to say was, when your kids start growing older, many parents that you see, it's like, I want my children to still be dependent on me in some way.
Yeah.
You know?
Keep coming back.
Because if they keep coming back, even if they bring their kids, yes, will you look after them? Of course I will. You know what? I want to look after my grandkids. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with looking after your grandkids, but most people are already preparing themselves going, I want to look after my grandkids because otherwise I've got to sit with him or I've got to sit with her. What the heck are we going to do?
They haven't worked on the relationship. You know, they don't,
unless we're going to be watching, we could binge watch the same Netflix program or something on TV that we both enjoy, which if you're majority of the time, me and Sureet, we don't watch the same stuff. So we know for a fact that in the future, we are not going to be sitting there watching the same. She watches stuff and I go, I ain't watching this. And I'll put something on and she'll go, God. And so can you imagine? And then what else have we got? Okay, you know what? We better make sure that our children are dependent on us, that, Dad, something's broken, can you come and fix it? Or Mum, guess what? My partner has done this and that, or my mother-in-law, my father-in-law. What do I do? Boo, boo, boo. And then you've got to go, oh, you know what? You know, I'm glad that my daughter's coming to me. And so many parents, it's like, I need my children.
So they feel like they've got a purpose still.
Yeah. I need my children in my life. So I've got something to do. And the children are more or less going, not moving on and doing something that they could be doing and building those relationships because they feel that I also need them. You know, I love and care my mum, or my dad, that I need to be there. And it's like, you're trying to both, and they need that time as well. Like, you know, because they doing the exact same thing of going, you know, I'm not saying you shouldn't go to your parents' house and spend having a relationship with them. But again, sometimes it feels like it's more like a distraction that I know of, was a police officer for 20 years. So many people that I work with and everything, and friends and family, that when the Friday came, instead of spending time with their partner, quality time with their partner and doing something with them, and, you know, she'll take the kids out, or me and you go and we'll drop the kids off, or whatever it might be, it ends up being more or less a time of, let me go with the kids to my mum's house. Not me and you tied. Every Friday it's escape.
Yeah.
You do whatever you want. I'm going to go and do my thing. And then Monday, let's start again. Yeah. And it's like going, so you all week you haven't done anything. And then on the weekend, you don't want to talk about it or think about it.
You're running away from what you don't want. Yeah, you don't want to be sitting in the same house, same person, you know, talking the same things. It's escaping. B, you don't have to cook for your kids. C, like, you don't even have to look after you. They're just there having fun and you can just sit back and chill. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have to do...
And you're just having your conversation with your cup of tea about something else again.
Week, but then also, you don't realise that if there is, you know, other family members, siblings living there, how much it impacts them. They don't think about that kind of thing either. Like, you know, every weekend, once in a, you know, month or whatever, but every weekend. I mean, that's why you see majority of the siblings will end up moving out because thinking they want that space as well.
But yeah, it does happen. But I'm going more on the terms of, like, you know, that's the other thing, because it does then it creates impact on other relationships.
Yeah.
But the people ain't thinking that. They're more or less going from their own escape from the life that they live in, and they don't want to work on what the relationship that is there. Yeah. And the distraction of, if I go there And it doesn't matter if, your house is full of your brothers and sisters or sister-in-law, brother. What's going on there? If they don't like it, I ain't bothered. Long as I'm out of where I'm out of, because I've been there all week and now I need to do something with other people. But not realizing that also that relationship with your other half is very important. And I don't think people work on that or think about that. They're more or less just going, I need to be doing things and getting out. You also need to be working on that, because if you have children who then grow up and have really good, meaningful relationships with their partners, or they move away and they do their own thing, or they don't have partners and they just go and live their life, but they're going, hey, we're traveling around the world or we're living somewhere else. You're going to have this like emptiness of going, okay, now what do me and you do? And then you're more or less going, we never had a relationship to begin with.
And that's it.
We were just there in this house.
I think is, although like we're saying we will always put our kids first, we still did spend time. And we do look back and see where we can improve. Even if it's like a year or two later, we still always look back and think, shit, where have we gone wrong? Where people don't like to look back. They just want to, what are you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say, I would say that mine and Sureet's, or mine and yours, it's weird. I still get used to this podcast thing. Mine and your main thing was more or less, not that we didn't communicate and say that we're not happy or that we should be working on things between us. It was the way that we would say it to each other. It was that communication, because we didn't know how to do that. We didn't know from our upbringing. We were more or less going, why ain't you doing this? Or why are you doing this? And not going, this is what I need. This is what I want. Why are we not?
And you pick up from what your own parents, and the way your tone used to read.
Mine came from mine, and yours came from yours.
Yeah, for me, it'd be like, don't tell me what to do, because obviously with what I'd gone through with parents just telling me what I can and can't do and having control over me. And what was yours? It just felt like you have to get your voice.
Mine was I had to be heard, because I was never heard, even though I was
so loud. So we've learned about that about each other, but you'd be so loud, and even up until now, I'm like, I don't like your tone. And I don't know, you need to drop that, because we can be more understanding. And it's just someone's trying to express something. They're not having a go at you, but you'd seen such a different light, just because it's like they say, it's a trauma, isn't it? It is.
Yeah.
Because you just straight away defend.
And that's what was happening with Sureet. It's always a defense battle. For me, it was just like, number one, I've never been heard, so I need to be louder. Yeah. I never existed. I felt expendable. And then the other thing was, it was like more or less going, when you're saying things to me, I'm feeling not good enough. And it's like going, oh my God, look at all the stuff that I'm just doing the best that I get.
And the thing is, that was more than enough. And that's why just the other day, going back to me, I was thinking, this guy, and I think I have probably said in the past, but like from, not having that figure, the person you are, you know what, it's unreal. Like there should be more men like you out there. And I know there is.
So sweet.
I know there is, but like, it's crazy, because when you come from something that you shun so much, you've come from something where you haven't learned to, had that role model and become the person.
Yeah, but
for that, it's nothing.
But then again, I could say exactly the same thing with you. You haven't had those role models either, and you did the same thing. You didn't know how it was to be, a good mom or a good wife, or those kind of things. How to, and again, you had all your reason to be sort of defensive and want to be scrappy-do and fight, and exactly, because you was always told what to do and how to be. And it was like, basically, so you having to learn of not just being, looking after the kids, being there for me as well, supportive, understanding, and it's continuously. And so I could say the same thing, the exact same thing of where you was and how you was and how you feel about yourself, even now at times, but then overcoming it and doing the things that you do, that sometimes you don't even realize how amazing you are in everything, and it's not just like, you just go, oh gosh, she cooks or she goes shopping or whatever, but everything you do, the work that you do around everything else,
and you're up. I tame you, even on this, I said, even how I tame you on this podcast, this guy was stressed out beforehand.
Trust me, like for me, I get more anxious doing this than Sureet. So when we work together, my mind keeps on going from one place to the other, because I think the point that I want to make was, when I said at the starting, as couples, you end up being busy in your life, from getting up to working, then, kids, and then going to bed, then weekends doing other things, that you don't even have time to see, understand, and appreciate each other or work on what you have. Yes, you might go once in a while out to eat. Yes, you might go on holiday once or twice a year, but you think that's all it is. But can you imagine Street and I are here, but yet people are bored in their relationships. They're going, gosh, she's like this, she's like that. We don't do anything. We've got nothing to talk about. Or all he's doing is this, that.
So, over lockdown, the amount of like people are split up and
because the thing is,
each other's way, and we do this, bro. We've been doing this.
And this is the point that I was trying to say, that majority of the people, certainly I think lockdown done the big thing. It was like more or less people going, I can't stay in the same room or in the same place with. It's like being in Big Brother house and being chucked in, and you're finally going, okay, now we've got to be with this person with nothing else going on.
And people have gone into new relationships. Like, we've known of people who are selling up stuff in their house because they've gone into a new relationship over lockdown. 4 months in, they're like, that's it. As soon as it's over, we're leaving.
Yeah. So they've actually moved in, and then they're going, no, this isn't happening. Because it's that thing of like, we've got to work on this, and this should be just automatically comfortable and good, and we've got nothing else to talk about. But instead of working on something, and this would mean, so can you imagine all these people in these relationships for a few years, loads of years, they're bored because it's like, who are we? What are we doing? And this person, and
it's the same as how he used to be. It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Gonna be. Yeah. You get to finally see the real you.
If you can imagine, this is how many people are, and then all of a sudden, like I said, what's that empty nest syndrome when the kids go. And then more or less you're going, we've got this 4 or 5 bedroom house and we're sitting here, and now what do? We need to have our parents in our life. We need these people. Even if people might be negative or make you feel like crap when you see them, and, you feel low and you feel like, energy, you still feel like, I'd rather have this than have nothing at all, because otherwise I've got to, I don't know what else I've got to do. Whereas instead, like I said, with Sureet and I, we went out, like I said, and we felt a bit bored not so long ago. But the thing is, we're with each other all day long. We work together.
Because I really do enjoy your company. When we're not stressed and we're not like talking about stuff that we don't want to be talking about, we have a laugh.
Yeah,
we do have a good.
And even when we're going away, we have a great time. Yeah. But so can you imagine when with us two, we work together from morning till the evening. We're in the same house together. When we go out and everything, we do that together. What we're doing with the kids, we do that together. Even it's everything. So then having to sort of detach for 3 nights, more or less going
together and my teeth and doing something else.
And so, but nothing like that.
No, sorry.
That is just not. That's not my kind of thing. And before you think, what the heck? But what I'm saying is, for Sureet and I, it's like trying to detach from that we're always constantly there. That, like I said, there's nothing wrong with us like doing things with other people, but we just still look at ourselves and going, okay, this is work. This is us, what we're doing as a family. Now, how can we still do things together, or try, like you said, change the story of it? Like going, okay, we're not going to talk about work. We're not going to talk about kids. We're going out. We need to get out. What should we talk about? Like I did the other day, going, okay, so what's else? I know what's new or what's not, but what I was going to say was, what ends up happening is, if you end up looking at your relationship and you're going, like I said, us two together for all the time, and what you sometimes think that you should be doing, okay, I'm not going to talk about this because we already know, I'm not going to talk about that. I don't want to have people in my life that, I haven't got things in common with, or, don't, basically enjoy what I enjoy, the same growth, same things, same ideas and stuff like that. That I don't want any of that kind of thing. I don't want people just for the sake of having people that I've got something to talk to my wife about or something to make me feel good about. I want people who also want to work on their marriage or, be good fathers, or, do love movies or do love football, things that I enjoy, that we, talk about those things, and then not, oh God, this has happened at so-and-so. Have you heard what happened at our friend's house?
Let's do something exciting this week. Let's plan something we haven't done before. Like, don't we?
So it's those kind of things that it's all about growth. That, okay, then you learn off them going, oh, I took my wife there and we did this. And then you go, oh, yeah, oh, great, that would be nice. I done this. And you learn those things that going how we can make things better.
Yeah, I don't think I've come across anyone that I know personally in our friends, wherever. I thought, you know what, I'm growing off them.
Yeah, and this is what I'm trying to say. So I know for a fact that I don't want to have people in my life just for the sake of having people in my life that I've got because I'm bored or whatever. You know what, I need to get out and talk to people. I rather wait for those people that like-minded, want to grow, and we grow together and we learn from each other to be better in our relationships, right? But at the same time, it's like, well, if you haven't got those, and I'm not going to settle for anything less, then I need to grow and work on what we've got.
Yeah.
But again, it's about learning. It's like I said, when we went out, again, going back, that you basically said, I said in the car, like going, we went out and through, like there's so many things you can talk about that's not related to, work or kids. Obviously, I can't talk to her about movies, not interested. I can't talk to her about football. So it's those all training, those kind of things. I know those, she won't enjoy, she'll listen and she'll go, oh, God, it's boring the heck out of me. I know those things. So I just like going, okay, tell me things about yourself. And then she just more or less gone, can we just not be quiet and just enjoy the drive? And then like you just basically said that, seeing that old couple sitting there, one's reading, one's chilling, and you don't have to talk all the time. See, what we're saying is you learn from those things of going, you don't have to force things, but it's also both people understanding that one person going, well, I'm trying now. You said, oh, this was boring last time, but now I'm doing this, and now you're going.
And this is what I felt like you were doing. You were trying, and it's like, no, I'm sorry. It's got to be natural. So, and whereas one would look before, those old couple, be like, shit, them, I don't want to be like that. You know what I mean? Just, I dread the day, because I know I probably felt it, dread the day that I was be that bored. I'm sitting with my partner, and we've got nothing to say, and one's got a book and one has said, but now I'm like, you know what? That's lovely.
Yeah.
And look at it in a different way and think, there's nothing wrong.
And I think that's what I want, even as we go growing now and looking forward to that. Look, we can't be dependent on thinking that our children are always going to be around us.
Yeah.
As in, they have their own partners. I want them to have great relationships with their partners. I want them to, that work on that, and I
put that first.
Put that first, grow there, because at the end of the day, remember, they're your partner. We might not be around, then they need to already have that relationship. They can't just go, always can run after mom and dad, and that can wait. Because again, like, now if we did that and we spend so much time with other people or just our kids, then all of a sudden our kids grow up and then we're more or less going, now, what do we do? Who are you? What was it that you liked? You know what I mean? And now, from not having all that time and being constantly busy, now we're in this place together. What should we now, like, unless you just settle and just go, okay, we just gotta accept this. But that isn't growth, that isn't happiness. That's just like convenience. That, we've been together for such a long time. We got the kids that are more or less, in the situation. Yes, might sleep in the same bed. I know there's a couple that don't. They just like be together for the children's sake, which,
no one
I can do that. But I just feel like you got to, if it matters to you, like I said, I want my children to have a good relationship with their partners, grow. I wouldn't be the one who's interfering and saying, "Oh, come on, I'll forget him," or you both. No, you guys do whatever you guys want to do. It's important. And the same thing, I don't expect them to like come every weekend and plant themselves and they're going, well, me and your mum, we're going to go out. Me and your mum, we're going to do something. And it's like going, but we're here and saying this. And it's like going, you're more than welcome. I would rather just go, you guys got the keys, there's the TV, whatever, order whatever you got to do. We're going.
Because we find, are able to do that, whereas bringing them up, we haven't really been able to enjoy our life and we could.
And I feel that, I hope that they would understand that. And I feel that that's how relationships should be. That, I'm not saying don't be there and don't spend time with your loved one, being kids or whoever it might be. But as long as the energy that they give is the energy that you want, that you both are growing from each other. It doesn't matter if it's your kids or your parents, but there's got to be growth. There's got to be encouragement. There's got to be support. There's got to be love, but not so much. I mean, I know you have to depend on each other. There's times when you have no choice, but you can't have a weekly relationship where all it is a distraction of like, I just need things to do or occupy myself because of the boredom.
Like you saying that, I remember we've done this ourselves, so as we're corporates ourselves, and with you, what would happen there is when we've had a weekly distraction, we've been somewhere, met people and done stuff, you'd really pay for it the next day. You'd be so drained and you'd feel, it depends on the situation where we are, you'd be so drained. Other times you'd be like
trying to fit in and also trying to be something that I was not.
Yeah. And also already know, like you already have that, you feel like you've got to be there and you already have your guards up because you're not fully accepted.
Yeah.
You're not understood or heard as, or accepted, and you already like...
It's trying to be loved and feel valued, but yet it's still, at the end of it, you're just going...
And that feeling is not something that you've made up. It's there for a reason. I think it's always been there. But then the after effects of how you used to be and be at home with us, it was like, and this is something we've really, really drawn away from.
Yeah.
Like when they say that, protect your energy. Like, until you've overcome and you know what, you're okay. Say it with those same people again or whatever else, not that you're okay. You understand you now and what happens to you. And,
more self-aware, isn't it? And we're both, and I feel that, I'm not saying it was COVID that did this for us, but I think that, like not having people around, we've had no choice but to work on ourselves. But then we're also looking at, number one, why is it that we have? What's been there and will always be there as long as we, work on it. And, and then at the same time, it's like even now, it doesn't matter. After 24 years, we look at it and, there's times when we do need time away from each other. And we discussed that this week as well. Because we were all sitting in the same room, me, Sri, and our daughter Casey, and she was doing so much.
Jane, the things she said regarding it, she's so switched on.
Yep, and she was doing so much when Sri was doing so much, I was doing so much, and we all sat here in the same room, even though we were like going, gosh, we need to spend some family time together, which we tried to do. So we sit there, but none of us could talk, and every time one was talking, the other one was more or less going, snapping a little, and you just like... And he was just like going, and it was like conversation going over this way, that way, this way, that way. And it was more or less, everyone was just going, can we just all be just left alone?
I don't even think anyone, me and her, we're women, so we felt like that. We've been working, doing whatever. He works and he comes in and he just wants to spend time. I think he likes that coldness where he has time with everyone.
I just want everyone to be around.
And, communicate stuff. And we're like looking at him thinking, stop talking now. We just want to have time. We've been working. We don't want to. He still has that energy. I don't know what it is, where he just feels like he wants to be.
And it's also
again, I think it's to do with seen and heard.
I'm going to we do another podcast next time, because I think one thing that we want to talk about is also about overworking and again doing things to be busy and not finding individual things that we enjoy, or knowing what we enjoy but not doing them. And I think that'll be our next podcast, because this will be long. Because that's the other thing that you were saying. When we sit here, then I don't watch or I don't do the things that I actually want to do, because I feel that if I do that, not that they'll get annoyed, that they'll all get up and they'll leave. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like going, I want to have something on, or I want to do something that everyone still stays around here.
He's got this thing where he just likes that's always around him. That he would sacrifice something he wants to watch,
or wants to do
in order for us just to be sitting there, even if we're quiet. And I'm always like, you can, even if we're sitting here, you can watch something. We can be quiet. You can watch. You don't have to do something you want to do. We don't. Sometimes we don't even want to do anything. We just want to be here.
But I don't. I just like go, okay, I'm going to watch this, or I'm going to do something. Whatever it might be, and they're just going to go, we'll just go upstairs in the other room. So I'm just like going,
then
guys, honestly, anything you lot want to do, anything you lot want to do. You know what I mean?
Whether you were like that as a kid or not, I feel like
is there anything that we could do together that, I always end up doing that. And that's another thing that Casey spoke to me the other day, and we discussed it, and they went, we need to, and like I said, I think that'll be the next podcast, but we need to be doing things that we enjoy individually. But yet, I think the main thing about this one is we're still learning, but we're still understanding more and more aware that, in relationships, they're not ever going to be perfect. Doesn't matter what relationship it is.
There's those people you see online who try to show that
ours isn't, regardless of what people say or think. Yes, we work. We're probably together more time than most couples are, and we basically still can be awkward, still can be bored, still we can need our space. But one thing for sure is we're looking at ourselves and going already that let's not wait till the future when the kids go and going, okay, now let's pick up from where we left off when we were younger. How can we grow and build now with the kids still around us, even though they might choose go their different paths and things might be different, that we're already, growing together that we can be around each other and being happier.
Doing things we've not done before, all the things we've done in the past, like, going out and about we do. But even like just that simple thing, we went out to a comedy show for our first comedy show the other week.
This year.
And it was amazing. And it's just like, I want to do different things.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. With Sureet and I, it's like, because we've been parents all that time, and everything we either done with the kids, or we've just gone, okay, we can't do that because that, we'd rather put that money towards what our kids need and stuff like that. Yeah. And we always put them first. But I think we need to get to the point where now we just started going, okay, why is it that us two can do? That's totally different. We might like it, we might not like it, but at least we've got other things to look forward to, other things to do.
Let's talk about
something to talk about. Yeah, well. But also we get to enjoy
fun. That's what
and then we have a laugh and we have a joke. And like I said, we went to the comedy club the other day, and we went for drinks before that. But
I even called it night, didn't I? I was like, no, this isn't being nice. Let's go home. Like,
whereas every other time she'll turn around and go, we never go out like we used to. We don't, like nights and this. And then finally we were out and we were like going, did you want to stay out? And she went, we've had a good night, let's go home. And it was like that. And I think it's that even now when we're going out, even, with the kids and all that, we feel a bit more, this is okay, we can enjoy this.
Just like when we went to go and have my tongue.
Yeah.
That day was amazing.
And I think that's beautiful now.
The experience that came out of it, I just woke up and I was like, you know what, today's the day, I'm going to get it done. We all went and it was just... it just flew. It just was like, nothing was planned, nothing. And it just went lovely.
And I think that's what we want to continue on doing, is being aware why we sometimes being a little snappy, why we need our space, why sometimes we do feel bored or we feel a bit anxious, what we need to work on, and then the things that we can do to make things different, things that we can enjoy. So if we are stuck in this house and we are doing the same thing all the time, then we need to start doing other things. Yeah. And then we can't blame each other. Oh, it's you, or it's me, or it's this, or those are the circumstances. It's not. And then we can't also wait and like people to, keep us busy that feel distracted, because again, we're not moving forward. I don't want that future with my kids. I want them to come because they enjoy our company and they can grow from us. And then we can learn things from them and we can grow from them, vice versa. And I think that's what it should be, all relationships, all friendships, and how couples should be.
Definitely.
No matter how long they've been together. Anyway, hopefully we'll see you guys on the next one.
On the next one.
Take care, see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.